Another long weekend, peeking out just to see if there's going to be any snow. I recorded this whole video without my microphone on, so I'm having to do a whole voiceover. I was trying to get some inspiration, so I had to eat out of one of the bowls that I made previously when I first started. So love the bowl. It looked much bigger, when I made it, but of course it had to shrink. So my goal today is to make another bowl, much bigger since I'm further along now. And hopefully I can get the sides up high enough. And this was made December 2021. That was my first year. I have not practiced as much as I'd like to have practiced since then, so I still feel like such a beginner, and I am. But I'm enjoying this noodle soup that I made, and moving on. This was the bowl that I worked on the other day, and I think I wrapped it a little too tight. I think I always wrapped it a little too tight or a little too early because it gets pushed in all over the place from the bag. So I'm just going to touch this one up today. It doesn't need that much trimming, so I didn't even have to put it on the wheel, really. I just need to smooth out some of the things that, happen by putting that bag on there too early. I have the heat going every day non-stop, as most of you probably are in this cold weather, so I didn't want it to dry out too fast because it certainly will break. I don't know what I'm going to use this bowl for, or what somebody else is going to use it for. Of course, it's going to shrink. So maybe a cereal bowl, maybe a mini noodle bowl, oatmeal, salsa at the table for Taco Tuesday. I don't know. Today I'm going to use this brown bear. I don't know that I've ever used it before, but I have it on hand because I just really like the color, and some of my Pottery peeps have been using it here lately. It is so beautiful on the inside and just so perfect. So I'm going to cut it kind of offset because I want to make, I kind of got into these mugs that are like couples mugs, and then somebody will turn around and buy one of them and then it's no longer a couples mug, but I like to have one a little bigger than the other one, so sometimes that works out. I don't do a lot of wedging with this because the starting product is so smooth on the inside. I feel like I'm going to create air bubbles by handling it too much. So I just press it into a circle and get started. my instructor, Melanie, she gives us instruction on what kind of clay body to use and start with, because, what do we know starting out for sure, but I can understand how it makes life so much easier having everybody use the same clay body, and it can fire all at the same time. And what she's chosen to do is to fire at a cone 6. For those of you who know what that means, I can't say I know a lot of what it means, but I do understand the consistency, and to be able to turn out everybody's stuff and fire it all at the same time, it makes life a lot easier. So, kind of like in life, you're picking and choosing, choosing the right foundation for your life. So you want this good outcome, you want the consistency, you want it to line up some type of way. So your life needs to have those core values. Of course, they're going to include everything with your health and your family and your creativity. All these goals guide your decisions. So I'm doing the cone up. It feels so weird on the inside, even though it looked so smooth when you start to move the clay around, you can feel all the bumps and lumps. It's crazy. This is still going to ensure that you get any little air out. Whatever air gets trapped in there, if you don't take care of it, that final piece is going to crack. So the life parallel with this one is you can wedge out the distractions and the negative influences in your life. Whatever does not align with whatever you have going on, your values, getting rid of stuff that have no business in your life just really ensures a smooth or a smoother, more sustainable space, in a place where you can just enjoy things a lot better. I've not worked with this clay. It's a little different. It feels so smooth and kind of makes me have a little bit of an appetite because of the chocolate color. It gives me chocolate ganache vibes, and I'm not even a sweet eater. Some clays, it's so easy to get it too wet, and if you're being too careful, sometimes it's too dry. But creating that balance makes it ideal for the shaping. And when we find balance in our life, we don't feel so overloaded. This balance makes everything so much more workable. The water that I was using reminded me so much of a melted Frosty, the chocolate Frosty. Maybe I was hungry while I was doing this, or maybe I just had a sweet tooth, I don't know. Maybe it's because of me getting on the wheel here more often. It felt so easy to get it centered. If that thing is not centered, nothing else is going to work. What is your center? If you could keep just a few things in your life, what would they be? There's so many questions we really need to ask ourselves. As I was moving this up, kind of like the trimming process, I feel like you're trimming away the excess and reducing the shape, but that's not what I'm aiming for. With this, I'm really just trying to create the look that I want. But in the process, you lose some of the clay to just the process in general, I guess. It just seemed to be coming off so much more than normal. And I'm like, this feels like the trimming process. Now, this clay, this was the first time I could do that around the bottom, and it came off all in one piece. I was like, ooh, nice. It was something so satisfying about it. Where do we need to trim in our life? I don't know. But sometimes when you're feeling drained and overwhelmed, you need to sit back and say, where does some trimming need to take place? Or maybe it's just decluttering. I've been doing a lot of that. Getting rid of things, simplifying life, minimizing. I really like the KonMari method, Marie Kondo. Taking a look at the things that you have and saying, does this thing bring me joy? Do I love it? Do I use it? Is it helpful? And if not, you need to get rid of it. I make a throwaway pile, a giveaway pile, and sometimes I don't know pile that I need to go through and make a decision about. This one turned out pretty good. It reminds me of those Thai bamboo little containers at like the Bangkok Thai restaurant that they put the smoked rice, the sticky rice in with the smoked pork, I think it goes with. It's better to me to have one well-made pot than a bunch of flawed ones that break easily, so you really gotta take your time. Same with life. You don't want a whole bunch of unnecessary people. It's better to have a few deeper, more purposeful relationships. And besides, it's better to focus on a few than to spread yourself thin. This thing, I pushed it on there, and apparently I didn't do it hard enough because it just slipped right off. This one had a really rough start. I don't know if it was because it was a bigger piece or what, or just my unfamiliarity with the clay body. But you got to constantly check that moisture, the thickness, the symmetry of it all. But I was definitely committed. I'm like, you know what? I am making at least 2 things today. What have you committed to, and where do you need to make adjustments? I mean, do they align, or are we just holding on to them? Between the water and the pressure on this clay, it took a minute, and it took some muscle to get it into shape. I could have done this part all day. It was so therapeutic. But eventually it would have gotten too much water, and then I would have been upset that I didn't have a finished product, but who would I be mad at exactly? Sometimes I just do piece after piece and just center a bunch of them, especially on a day like this, but I had so many other things to do, I didn't do that this time. But if it's been a while that I've not been on the wheel, I'll do that back to back. But I started out good today because the first one got centered. Sometimes you just have a bad day and there's no centering that's happening consistently. So sometimes you just got to put it down. My cousin, she was coming through and saying, "Does the restaurant next door have fried pickles?" I just looked at her, yeah. What does that mean? I was like, so do we if you make them. So in between this video, I was trying to explain to her how to make fried pickles. She did a pretty good job. She did them in the air fryer. I was like, girl, we are not making this mess today. She used the slap, I think it was the Slap Your Mama, maybe it was the Louisiana breader, and it was a little too spicy. This is where I was telling her, we are not going out to eat when we have all the ingredients here. So I said, do you have Irish bread pup money, girl? At the end, she was so proud, though. It's nothing quite like making your own stuff. This is why it's important to figure out how to make the time to do what it is you want to do, because until you just do it, we'll just make excuses and talk about how we wish we had time to do things instead of just sitting down. So I'm telling you, I feel so much better when I just sit down and say, I'm going to make one thing, or I'm going to make these two things, and then I get to the place where I don't even want to get up. And you get that momentum going. Before you know it, you'll be a potter or whatever it is you're trying to do. So yeah, take a chance on yourself. I almost messed this one up so bad. I thought it was going to plop down, but it did a little bit. But I decided to leave it alone before I messed it up the rest of the way. And ta-da, that's what we're going to do. You see where it collapsed on the inside? Oh well, I'll just make it two different colors. It'll be one of a kind and it'll be okay. Alright, 2 things finished. That's all for today. Now what are you going to go do? I really want to go do 2 more that match these, but I probably should stop while I'm ahead. But it's so tempting.